And how is it going? Everything fine still? Let's continue, because now I want to talk to you about something which I call the project management effect. What is that? Sounds strange? I will explain to you. Suppose you have a certain task in front of you. You have a part A and a part B lying straight in front of you. And your task is to place the shorter part below the longer part. But not do it by any means. You have certain rules to do that. You should do that by using the less possible resources. And in this exercise of moving one part to another place, the resources are your movement and your hands. So how can you move the shorter part below the longer part with a less movement possible, less number of possible movements? So think about it. Many times when you face this kind of a little bit more complex problems, you would create a small task force, a group to find out some solutions. You create a project plan and plan very detailed how you want to achieve it, so that you really can ensure to have a good outcome. And that's exactly what we'll do here also. 80% planning, 20% execution, right? Measure twice, so you only need to do it once. So it's a way to avoid mistakes. It's a way to be very efficient in the execution. And lucky you, because I already have a project plan right here for this task. Let's take a look. So if we really want to move the shorter part, the small part, below the big part, using the less movements possible, one possible project plan would look like this. So we have here, the first step would be to move the right hand to the upper part. The second step, move the left hand to the lower part. Pick up the upper part, then slide the lower part to the top. And then place the upper parts, the smaller part, on the bottom. And remove both hands. So you inverted the order of this. So this would be one way we can plan to do this activity. Here, of course, it's a very small activity, a very small task, so it's 16 seconds. I estimated to do this, the first step in 3 seconds, and can work parallel, position both hands on it parallel. Afterwards I pick up the upper parts, the small parts, and then I slide the bigger part up and place the smaller part on the bottom. So I estimate so much time I need, and then I remove my hands, also 3 seconds. So in total I think here around 16 seconds we should be finished with this task. Sounds like a good plan? Let's try to do it. Right hand on the small part. Left hand on the big part. Lift up the small part, slide up the long part, and place the smaller part on the bottom. What? No. Let's try again this one. So I place the hands on the parts. Lift up the small part, slide up the big part and place the small part on the bottom. What? This is crazy. What happens here? Whenever I take the small part and put it on the bottom, it becomes the big part. You know what's that? That's an optical illusion. Because in fact, both of these parts are exactly the same size, as you can see here and here. Let's come back to the project management effect. The project management effect is following. You have a task to perform in a project. And when you lay out the project plan, like this one here, you have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. You presume that you know all the steps which need to be taken in order to achieve your result from your project, to achieve the project goal. In reality, however, you don't know which step you need to take to get to the final point. Because once you did the first step or once you did the second step, you already will find some new information, something which has been unknown, something you didn't thought about, so you need to react to the current situation. And that's what I call the project management effect. You assume that you know exactly what to do to get to a certain outcome. You know exactly which step need to take. And many times these projects are planned also over weeks, over months, over years, and we lay it out and say, okay, it's certainly true that we will arrive at this target following this project, but in reality, we just don't know. But the project management effect makes you believe that you know, but you don't know. And you know who knows? No one can know it. Another interesting fact is that because of this project management effect, you cannot evaluate if a project manager has done a good job or has done a bad job. I will explain what I mean. Suppose you did this kind of project here with these tasks here, 6 steps, and in 16 seconds you arrived at your outcome and you're very successful. Now the project has been finished within the time, within budget, and with the desired quality. Was this project manager who executed this and controlled it, was it a good project manager or a bad project manager? You don't know. You just don't know. Even he has finished in time, within budget, and with the desired quality, you don't know if it has been a good project manager. Because maybe the project already was dimensioned, so he had too much slack time between the tasks. He planned too long for something which will take even less. He planned extra tasks, which in fact turned out not to be necessary. Maybe they had a very good, favorable condition in the market from the supplier. Everything went following plan, and he didn't need to do any troubleshooting. So it was really a question of luck. And another project manager who really finished delayed here, over budget, on the time, not on time, or with some quality issue, maybe he has done a really good job because he has steered across so many hurdles, so many difficulties, and he has managed and reacted very fast. You tend to evaluate the project manager or the employee, the responsible, according to this plan, when in fact this plan is not possible to be made accurate. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't need project management and it's not important to have a project plan for managing the very complex tasks. I'm only saying that if you are in a managing role and you want to establish this continuous improvement idea where you solve your problems every day, developing your employees, developing your stuff, then project management might not be the right tool for you. But no problem, don't worry, because there are some very nice tools and some very good methods on how you do your problem solving, how you do your project management, and at the same time develop your employees step by step towards a goal. And we will talk about this.